Hi, good afternoon, Juan. How are you?
Hi, Noah. Very well. And yourself?
Fine, thank you. So, well, hello to everyone that is listening to us. One more day doing a live here to talk about everything about immigration. I always try to talk about something just to explain every week something different. But any of you that have any other questions regarding immigration, don't worry, we can talk about that. Today we are going to try to talk about something that is more or less usual, and we are helping a lot of students come with criminal records, because it's true that in the US, whenever you have any problem with the police or any DUI or any other criminal offense, people are scared about applying for a visa, maybe a student permit, maybe another permit. Okay, and is not impossible. Okay, it's true that is a little bit more difficult. Not now. Juan will explain a little how we do it, but it's possible because um, you know that in Spain we can cancel criminal records and police records. Uh, so because we can cancel them, maybe after 4 years, 6 years, something like that, they will never appear in our record. But in the US, for example, in the US, because we have a lot of US citizens, but this can apply for any other country. If you are from another country and you are listening to us, maybe in the US they don't cancel them, and maybe something happened to you 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, and you are afraid to apply for the visa because of this problem. Because when you apply for the FBI criminal records or something like that, they appear. And it's true that consulates, now we will talk about some cases, and afterwards we will publish also the rulings of the court giving us the visa. But it's true that consulates sometimes, when they see the records, they deny it. Okay, they don't analyze anything. Sometimes directly they deny it, and they want us to do an appeal. There are two possible appeals: the appeal to the consulate and also the appeal to the court. Of course, also always the appeal to the court is stronger, but sometimes we decide to try in the consulate and then go to the court. Sometimes we decide directly to go to the court. The thing is, when something is a long time ago, and in Spain, this will have been we will have been able to cancel these criminal records if had happened in Spain. This is the base to be able to apply for the visa, student visa, non-lucrative visa, freelance visa, whatever visa, if you have criminal records. But these criminal records are, if it had been in Spain, we can cancel it. Then we should do the application for the visa and explain this, right, Juan?
That's it. And we are coming with this because we just had a very good resolution from the Spanish High Court in Madrid, which has recognized the right of a permit of a student of a United States citizen, which had his permit denied in the United States from the consulate because of the criminal records. And we have to distinguish two situations, okay? The first situation, you did your application by yourself and it was denied, how we can handle the appeal. And the other situation, I have the criminal records, and before I get a denial, I want to maybe be able to sort out the criminal records issue without having to go to the appeal. Because we have had these two cases in the two different consulates, and we have had the same good results. In the case of the student, okay, I want to be an auxiliar de conversación, but over 8 years ago, I had a DUI, and now the consulate is saying that I cannot apply for a residence permit or a student permit in Spain because I have criminal records. Okay, we have to distinguish that. It's not that if you had committed a mistake in the past, this has to follow all your life. the criminal records, even the police records, can be cancelled in Spain and expunged in the US. But the procedure to expunge these records in the US, it's kind of challenging and hard. So as long as we can say, hey, in Spain, these records would already have been cancelled, or they even didn't make a criminal record because there are some kind of felonies in the United States, sometimes of misdemeanors in the United States, that even though they appear on the criminal records of the FBI, but because they have everything in there, they can have that you smoke a joint back in the 70s and it will appear in there. Maybe they are not considered a crime in Spain, okay? Because you have a lot of states in the United States, or even right now with the citizens of the United Kingdom, or we have some citizens in Africa, and they consider crimes things that in Spain are not considered crimes.
You know, Juan, that this happened to me, that I was studying a master in the US, in Miami, and I was driving with my Spanish license. And
Right.
that is a criminal offense in the US, which in Spain, if you have a driving license from another country, it's not a criminal offense if you haven't done like
The exchange of the permit, yeah.
It is an administrative fault. So, for example, I'm the perfect
that's
example.
it. Here in Spain, that will just be a fine. Okay.
Exactly.
But we can even go to the exaggerated kind of permits. Some countries in Africa, they declare that being homosexual, it's a crime.
Oh.
Okay. If you have these kind of records in your criminal records from Africa, then they cannot be considered by the consulate as criminal records, because in Spain, that is not a crime. So we have this principle that is called the double incrimination principle. That it means that first, the police or the criminal record has to be considered a felony in Spain too, not just a misdemeanor. Okay, it has to be considered a crime, and then the time that has already passed should be like in Spain. After 5 years of committing a serious offense, you can cancel those criminal records. So if you have a serious offense in the US, already 5 years have passed, even if you haven't been able to cancel it, then we have, and this is what happened to our guy here in Spain. He wanted to come to Sevilla to study as an auxiliar de conversación and to perform this kind of permit. And it was denied by the consulate, and they didn't even say why. We just had a denial, and they didn't say criminal record. So we have to first file an administrative appeal because the denial was very ambiguous. Like, we deny your permit.
They don't meet. You don't meet the requirements.
Exactly. Like, reason not meeting the requirements. Okay, which one? So this resolution is illegal, and they know it's illegal. They just want to take some time. So we appeal the decision saying, hey, give us a reason for the denial. In Spain, any authority that issues a resolution has to state why they are issuing this resolution. Okay, because you don't meet the economical means requirement because you only have 5,000 euros and you need 8,000 euros, or because in this case you had criminal records. But they are not sometimes so brave to say it because sometimes they know they are wrong and they just want to gain some time. So we went to the court and we said, hey, this happened. And they said that it was because of the criminal records. And in that, we made just a little like a spreadsheet saying, hey, in Spain, this is a criminal offense. This is a criminal offense in the United States. Let's compare them. Okay. This will not even be a crime in Spain. And even if we go for the worst case scenario, okay, let's say that it was a crime, this will have already been canceled. And the court say, you are right. The High Court in Madrid say, and this is not even something that we have to consider to be a danger for Spain because, okay, and they say that having a DUI back 8 years ago cannot be something that the consulate considers toward denying a student permit for a person that wants to go to Seville for 8 months. Doesn't make sense. So they overruled. They said, no. And they even said you have to pay for the costs of taking, of having these persons take you to court, okay, because you did wrong, consulate. So this is the situation. And we had another situation, okay, which was in a consulate too, but this person wanted to apply and he wanted the legal assistance before applying because he didn't have much time to do the appeal. He wanted to move out, so he wanted to do everything perfectly and to not give the consulate more reasons for the denial because maybe they deny you for the criminal records and for other stuff. So we assist this person in order to get everything just fine. And for the
Yes,
part of
when
the
we
criminal
do
records,
this, we do like an appeal before the denial. So
exactly.
in the application, we do like we give all the reasons why they shouldn't deny.
Yeah, I know we have criminal records. Yeah, this is the FBI. We are not going to lie. There are criminal records there. But also bear in mind that these criminal records are because of something that in Spain is not accountable as a criminal record, that a lot of time has passed, and that because of the principle of double incrimination, this cannot be considered that. And they have just give us the resolution granting the permit, and this person is already in Spain with his permit and traveling within Spain, even though this was a little bit higher because it was like auto theft, like driving without a car that was stolen. Okay, so something that
Ah,
is not a
wow.
DUI.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
we are moving in gray area. But we explained first, this happened a lot of time ago. Secondly, the court dismissed part of the charges. So at the end, it was not a felony, but a misdemeanor. Therefore, in Spain, it's not a crime. And it went through with the consulate. So if you get legal assistance from the beginning when applying for the consulate, these kind of issues can be overcome. But
And we
yes,
are talking about the students because now this like high season for students, but this has happened with non-lucratives, and we have been successful in highly qualified workers also. So, well, doesn't matter the base, the legal base, and the legal reasons that we have to say is very much the same in any applications, right, Juan?
exactly. That's the same criteria for the non-lucrative, for the golden visa, for any kind of permit. They are saying the same. As long once they see in your FBI that there is one more page than the usual one, because usually the FBI criminal records are one page. So if they see that there is another page, they will say, "How come?" And let's see what this person has, and then we can submit the either the appeal of the or the explanatory letter, which will make explaining everything. So that for the part of the criminal records. The only thing that is that it takes a little bit if we go to the court. So it's better if we do it from the beginning. Okay. So before you get this rejected, get legal assistance. Maybe you don't need a rejection. Maybe we can do it directly, fine, from the start.
There is also for a student, just for a student, there is also a small trick if they don't want to go through all this, and it's applying for less than 6 months. You know that when you come for less than 6 months to study in Spain, you don't have to submit criminal records. But if you want to renew, because you can renew, mm, and stay longer than 6 months, you will need to do this. Okay, so usually, for example, the first case was an auxiliar de conversación. The auxiliar de conversación cannot choose that the program lasts less than 9 months because you are helping in a course, or when you come to study a master's degree or whatever. So sometimes you cannot choose the length of the course, so it's not a good strategy, and we need to face it. And there is a way to get the approval, as we are talking about.
Yes. And also remember that if you're a student, that's important, not an auxiliar de conversación, but if you're going to be studying in Spain, you can apply directly from Spain. So a lot of people do not know that they can apply directly from Spain being a tourist. Okay, if you are going to study Spanish or any other kind of course, and as long as not is not the auxiliar de conversación, you can come to Spain, you can reach out to a lawyer, and we can apply directly by electronical means, directly from Spain, as long as you enter directly, or if not, you made the declaration of entry, of course. And it's usually at the foreigners office, they are more flexible with this kind of things that in the consulate. Okay,
Ah, yes,
so
I always recommend, because uh, during COVID, maybe it was not possible to a lot of people to come and apply from here. But now that it's possible to enter as a tourist, for all of you that you can enter as a tourist, we always recommend that enter as a tourist and apply for the permit in the first 60 days. We can help you. You don't have to go anywhere, and you avoid the consulate, because the problem of going to the consulate is that if they take 3 months and your course starts, you are outside, so you're still waiting while the course starts. But if you come as a tourist, we do the application, even if it's in process, you are already in Spain, so you can start your course. It's perfectly legal. You have your proof of application and everything is fine. And there's still a lot of people that don't know that they can apply from Spain. I still have consultations and the universities have told them to apply from outside because they don't know about this way to apply from Spain, and it's much better. If you need a visa to enter, if you are from a country that needs a visa to enter, then apply for the visa because you need a visa to enter. But if you can come as a tourist, it's perfect to come and apply from here in the first 60 days. That is very important. And don't don't think that if you are in France, in Portugal, in whatever Schengen territory, and you are 30 days there, then you come to Spain and you have another 60. No, it's in the first 60 days from the first entrance to Schengen. Be careful with that. Now in the summer, maybe you decide to do a Europe trip and then end up in Spain and apply for the student permit. Be careful because you have to do it in the first 60 days from the first entrance to Schengen. Right, Juan? You are always very
Exactly. I'm always
careful with
saying
that.
that because sometimes you find a flight that is cheaper to go coming to Amsterdam. Sometimes you find a way to do it from Paris, and you spend a couple of weeks there, and you say, "Hey, it's not going to begin to count until I reach Spain." No, it counts from the moment you enter the European space on the Schengen area. So any stay in the European Union countries that are part of the Schengen area, like Italy, like France, like Denmark, like the Netherlands, those stays count towards this kind of permit. Okay, on that side, and always consider. I had some cases where people think that this permit is renewed automatically, and they just have to go and change the NIE card. Like, oh, my NIE card, my
Ah, yes.
TIE card is going to expire on the 1st of August. I need the paperwork in order to renew my permit. You cannot just renew your permit. You have to renew the whole thing. Like, you have to prove that you have succeeded in your studies, that you have succeeded in your that you have your economical means, that you have um, uh, the insurance, that you have a new course to study, or that you are continuing your studies, and we can extend your permit. And this extension of your permit can be done from 60 days before of the expiration of your permit and up until 90 days after. Okay, this is like one of the confusions, together with the famous confusion about, hey, I got my student permit from the consulate, but it's just 90 days.
Ah,
No,
yes.
yeah, it's
The
not 90
students
days.
or the non-lucrative, they always have this doubt. Hey, you told me the residency was for 1 year and I have only gotten a visa for 90 days. No, that is just to enter Spain.
Exactly. Then in Spain, you have to do certain procedures in order to get your T card, which will have the duration of your permit. Because sometimes the students get less time that they think they are going to get, because the resolution that they give the consulate to and the office here in Spain will be for the duration of the course. Okay, and sometimes it's for 9 months, sometimes it's for 10 months, or sometimes it's for 12 months. But you have to understand that the visa that you stamp in your passport is only to travel to Spain within that time frame. Then you have to be here, register yourself within the padrón, the empadronamiento, which is a concept that we have to also discuss thoroughly, because it doesn't exist in the US, like the census.
Okay.
But what is that, a padrón? And with that, you get your TIE card, okay, and it has that has the validity that is the official validity of your permit. The TIE card will have that. And sometimes they don't even give you that because your permit is less than 6 months. So you will not even get a permit, but you can be in Spain and you can extend your permit only with the resolution that they will give you. Or we can apply for a duplicate of that resolution, because sometimes they don't give it to you. But yeah, a lot
And
of
be careful
concepts.
because people, especially during COVID, think that they have to go to an appointment to do the renewal, the student renewal. And there's been a lot of cases that they haven't done the renewal because they didn't get an appointment, especially during COVID. You don't need an appointment. It's something that you need to have clear if you want to do it an appointment, because there are immigration offices that they give you an appointment, but it's just like a register office. They give you an appointment to submit documents, okay? But it's not going to be an excuse if you haven't done it in time, in the 60 days before or 90 days after, because there were no appointments. Because there's even, it's mandatory for you to do it in all the other ways that you can do it. That is, or by post, by normal post, which is legal. It is very slow. It's not our recommendation, but it's a legal way to do it. So you can do it by post, sending it to immigration. You can do it by register office. So the public administrations always have like a window where you can submit documents. There are called that register office. It doesn't have to be in immigration, okay? The immigration one is the one that goes directly. But if you go to another administrative office where they have a register office, you can hand in there the documents and they will send it to immigration, okay? So that is another solution. And the best solution is online, what we say solicitud telemática, okay? So online you can do it by yourself if you have digital certificate, or through us, because we have as lawyers we have digital certificates. So these are all the ways to do a renewal, and also a first application. If you do it from here, you can do it like that. So be careful with that. Don't wait until you get an appointment and maybe there are no appointments, and your knee expires, so you have to go back to your country and come in as a tourist, and you lose the time as a student. Don't do it like that. It's a big mistake, and it has happened a lot
Yeah.
during COVID. And
Yeah.
this is very important, Patty. There is a question here about the recently news that maybe, and is what Juan was saying, that people sometimes think that maybe is not needed to do a renewal now. Now there are some news that they say that they are like proposing not needing to do a renewal. Be careful with that. It's only a proposal. It's not accepted. Today they have said that they don't think they will accept this. Right, Juan? You were telling me this, that today they were saying that they will do things easy, like there are for the students, but maybe they cannot give a permit once and last it for the 5 years of a university like they were proposing, because they need to check that you don't have criminal records every year, because for the renewal, you don't have to submit your criminal records from your country, but they do check if you have had a problem in Spain. So, and they have to check if you are passing the courses, and they have to check if you have financial means. So we don't know yet. There is a proposal, as Patty is saying, but they are saying that that is likely that they don't accept this, and that we have to do the renewals, right, Juan?
Exactly. Like the government has passed a proposal in order to make this easier, like for students, which seems that they're going to automatically renew every permit, which is actually kind of something that is already because they renew your permit almost automatically. You just have to prove that you've been in Spain, that you met the requirements. They want to make it easier, but the Ministry of Interior is saying that this can lead to abusive situations, like the students maybe they don't even study, they just apply
Exactly.
for a student permit and they never go to classes, and we will have persons that are actually working illegally in Spain. So they have to take a look to what they are going to do, because there is going to be a reform of the law, that's for sure. They want to make things easier for students. They even want them to be able to apply for a job permit much easier, because right now students have limited options in order to move from the student permit to a work permit, okay, because they have to follow
Still
certain rules.
difficult. It's true that it's still difficult because you need a company doing the the
Sponsorship,
application.
yeah.
Yes.
You need a company sponsoring. So they want to make this more flexible. They want to say, hey, maybe if you are here studying and you find a job as a waiter, you find a job doing some hours at a bar, that you can do it. So you will be able to do it. But they have to filter this too much. But yeah, as I know, I was saying, we're finding a lot of people that are doing this procedure by themselves, either by correos or by an appointment. And I think I know that we are seeing a lot of percentage of procedures of people who want us to help them to try to rescue them for
Yeah.
a procedure that is either lost or denied or they have an archivo. And
The
this is very
problem,
important.
yes, 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 because Juan is always helping me to get to how you say recuperate to find this application, because the problem is that when you do it by post or not online, it is difficult, right, Juan? They lose the document sometimes.
Exactly. Even they even have the receipt of the permit. But when you go and you say, "Hey, how is my procedure going? Let me check," and you put the details. This is my NIE number, the date of application, no information, and you enter into panic. You say,
Yes.
"But I did it." But when you do it with a lawyer by electronic means, you will get a file number just with the application. Okay. We say, okay, I want to renew the permit of Jim. This is the NIE number of Jim. This is the date of the expiring of the permit. Then to us, it will show us this is your permit that is ready to renew. It has this file number. So the whole time, I'm going to be able to keep track of the procedure by every step. I will not when this was submitted. I will not when there is a requirement. I will not when this is being
Yeah.
solved favorably.
That doesn't mean that is very quick, because how long are taking the resolutions, Juan, more or less?
Well, in Madrid, which
Students
is, but you have to know that Madrid is the city that received the most students in Europe, and it only has seven
in
in of
Europe.
yeah,
I didn't know that.
and there are only seven officials like in charge of the procedures, and sometimes one each of them. So it's taking more than 3 months to get a renewal. Okay, between 4 5 months, usually a little bit less, but a renewal of a permit is being around no less than 3 months. And remember, in Spain, August doesn't count as a month because they do not like to work a lot in the official, so it's
But
slower.
that for the students, you need to always wait for the renewal to be approved in order to be sure that that is approved. But for other permits like non-lucrative visas renewals, or for example work permits renewals, the ones that are cuenta ajena or cuenta propia, for example, we are not talking about highly qualified, okay? Because highly qualified has another law, another rules. But these permits, after 90 days, 3 months, you need to consider approved, which is very good. And sometimes people don't know that and they are stressed like 5 months waiting. And after 3 months, they must know that at least it's going to be approved. Because Mary was asking, hi, when I submitted my first non-lucrative renewal back in 2020, I submitted a translate bank verification letter with just one non-translated bank statement and had no issues. Can I do the same with my second non-lucrative renewal that come up next month? Thanks. Well, Juan will tell you, and I always say Juan will tell you because he's the one that is always fixing things. The thing is, the problem is that sometimes you've done the same thing, not perfectly, because this is not perfectly, like not being translated. I don't know, 3 years, and you were successful, and suddenly 1 year, someone that is new and is more strict it resolves your case, and they want it really how they want it, right, Juan? And suddenly they require you the whole translation, and you say, but this is strange because 3 years ago I did exactly the same, and I didn't have a problem. It's not strange, because the people that are resolving sometimes change, or sometimes they change the criteria and they want to be tougher. So our recommendation, do it perfectly from the beginning if you know that you are doing something that is not perfect, because as you are telling us, you need to submit a bank certificate that should be in Spanish. You can apply from a bank in Spain, so you can decide to wire transfer the money to Spain, and you apply for the bank certificate, okay? But if not, you apply for the bank certificate from the US and you bring the translation, but not do it. You should do it correctly from the beginning. What do you think, Juan? And
Exactly. I
translation
mean,
of that is cheap. We
yeah,
we do short translations, and we can do it, and it's not expensive. And doing it, and if they don't like it, it's going to be 2 or 3 months more, because until they stop your application, they send you the letter, you do the translation, you send it back. It's 4 months more, right, Juan?
exactly. Just take into account that the officials are humans. So sometimes this official maybe is not having a good day that day, and he says, "No, this document has to be in Spanish because the law says it has to be in Spanish." And they can just say, and another day he's on a good mood and will say, "It's just a bank certificate. I can read the numbers here. It says 40,000 euros. I understand that. I don't need to speak English to know." But if they are legally and technically fine, or what is correct, the document has to be in English, translated by a sworn
in,
translator,
in
and
Spanish, in Spanish.
sorry, but translated by a sworn translator to Spanish. But that's Madrid. Let's say that we go to Valencia. Valencia will say, no, no, no. You have to take this document to a notary, then apostille this document, and then translate it. Because the officials in Valencia, they want people to get private documents apostille, which is something that shouldn't be an issue, because they should not require you to apostille a private document, but they
Yes.
want to be sure. So if you say that if you're going to renew your permit and it was a non-lucrative, and instead of Madrid, we were talking about Valencia, for sure I will say, hey, do not take any chances there, because you will only have one more shot. And in there, they are going to ask you for that bank certificate being stamped by the bank. Sometimes they don't do it, being notarized, being apostille, and being sworn translated. But in Madrid, they are kind of flexible. I do advise you, as I know I was saying, avoid issues.
Try
Spend a
to
little
do it
more.
correctly from the
Exactly.
beginning.
It's going to cost you how much? 30 euros, 50 euros, maybe 100 euros, but it's going to save a lot of problem. Do not endanger your migratory situation in Spain just for saving a couple of bucks. I mean, it will
Uh,
be more
and
easy if you do them correctly.
something that changed a lot from your first application from the consulate, if you've done it from the consulate, to a renewal, for example, is this declaration from your parents. Okay, so normally at the consulates tell you that, and it's usually acceptable, that they do a declaration at the notary, your parents, saying that they will support you. Okay, and this is very usual. When you come here and you have renew it, uh, I even went to the court with this, and the court was clear. They usually want your parents to put their money in your bank account to show that that you have that money, because what the court told me once, a lot time ago, 6 years ago, they told me, okay, if the parents support this student, uh, wire the money to the student. So we always recommend this for the renewals, even if you have done a declaration at the notary with your parents. Now in the renewal, if it's normally it's a 10 months course, uh, make your parents wire transfer you the 6,000 euros, because it's 600 per month. Okay, depends on the length of the course, it will be an amount or another. A 10 months course is 6,000 euros that you have to show. And you afterwards, it's not mandatory by law to keep the money and spend the money here. You can wire transfer the money back. Okay, I not recommend you use something illegal, but it's something that will make things easier, because immigration prefers to see the money in your bank account, and then you give back the money to your parents. No problem. Because for a renewal, they don't ask for the bank statements. Okay, because normally, for the first visa, they always want to see the 6 last months, but for the renewal, they don't. They want the bank certificate. Or are they asking in Valencia for the bank? Because Valencia always asks for more. Juan, are they asking for the 6 last months of movements for the renewal in Valencia or not?
No, just with the bank
Okay.
certificate, but they do ask for something that is kind of strange. They say, show me how you are using your money in Spain. So we've shown the bank certificates in the US, and they say, yeah, right, but how are you using this money in Spain? And we have to show the transfer between Spain and the United States. Happened with a family a couple of months ago in Valencia. They asked for, okay, you meet the requirements of the amount, but I want, and it was kind of a strange requirement. It says, show me how you are using this money in Spain. So we had to show the movements in Spain, seeing how they transfer money each month to the Spanish account, or that they had debit and credit cards from the United States accounts that they were able to use here in Spain, okay, because they wanted to know how they were living here with the money in the United States. We showed that, and it was perfectly fine. Okay, it went well, but fine. So yes.
And also anything regarding students, okay, but or something. So, for example, from students, we don't see any other difference in other cities, right?
Well, the criteria is almost the same in all the places. Just the time that it takes to get a student is different. In Madrid, an initial student is taking at least 4 months, and in Barcelona is taking 3 months. Seville is taking 3 months, but it's just in terms of the time. Valencia is always the toughest, and Alicante on the terms of the economical means, the insurance, and the certificate of the designation of a legal guardian when we are talking about minors, okay, which is something that is important.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that is important.
Valencia is the toughest with students too.
And for example, for non-lucrative, Barcelona and Valencia ask for double the money, right? No,
Like
and another one you told me the other
Asturias,
day, Asturias,
Malaga,
yes.
even Malaga, which is the best foreigners office by far because they are fast, they are flexible, and they are kind. In the non-lucrative, they will ask you for twice the amount on the second year. So if they ask you for 32,000 euros on the first year for one applicant, they will ask you for 64 on the second year if you are talking about one person.
Which is strange. They should think about it, because if you cannot work, it's difficult to have double the money in a year. But well, in any case, I think if you don't meet the requirements, we should be able to fight it. If you meet the requirements, of course we show double, okay, because we avoid the fighting. But if you don't have double the money, we should do an appeal if they deny the renewal, saying that they cannot they cannot use different criteria and ask for someone in Madrid less than someone in Malaga, because the law is the same and they cannot go against their acts. Okay, that is something, a legal criteria in Spain. The administration cannot do and approve 1 year something, and the next year with the same requirements ask for something else. That happens a lot in the freelance visa, that they keep changing criteria, and suddenly they don't like, I don't know, English teachers, that we do a lot, and suddenly they think that they don't create employment, so they deny it. They cannot do that. You have approved, I don't know, 5,000 freelance visas as a English teacher, and now you decide that you don't want, you cannot do that. In
Exactly.
any case, this question we have already answered. Let's see. Patty, okay. I live in Valencia. How do I get in touch for a consultation so I can decide where to apply for a student permit or go to búsqueda laboral? Thanks for the response. Okay, you can see it down there, that you can email us, so we can organize a consultation with you. But for sure, well, yeah, normally, what would you, I would recommend always to do a búsqueda de empleo normally. because you start a residency. But it's true that if you don't see that you are going to start working in a year, maybe it's better to renew the student permit, so you gain time, because the problem of the búsqueda de empleo, okay, is that you only have 1 year. After 1 year, you will have to start working in your own project or as an employee, or before, because people think, some students think that you need to wait for the year to apply for the work permit. No, you apply for the búsqueda de empleo, you have a year, but if in a month you are ready to apply for your work permit, you can apply for your work permit. But the problem is, if it's not in your plans to start working in a year, then yes, it's better maybe to do another student renewal, and then a búsqueda de empleo. The problem is, we did have in Valencia, we have a lot of problems in Valencia, as you can see. We did have a problem in Valencia regarding that, right? Because the person finished the master's, did another study, right, Juan? But
Exactly.
the other study was not a master, was something more simple. So after that year, this student was not allowed to apply for the búsqueda de empleo, because was not directly
Immediately
after
after.
the
Exactly.
master's. Was imagine, he did a master, then he did a normal course, which is not a master, and then he wanted the búsqueda de empleo and he couldn't, right?
Exactly. They say that it has to be applied 90 days after finishing the official course. So even if you study an official master and then you switch to a non-official master, they will not give you the permit. Okay. So yes, Valencia gives a lot of problem with this kind of permits, with any permit.
Okay, let's see if there are. Okay. So, how many translated bank statements do I have to submit along with the translated bank certificate in Madrid? Thanks. Well, Mary, sir, sorry. The thing is, they didn't ask you to translate the bank statement because they don't need the bank statement. They need the bank certificate. Is what we were saying. So, if you were submitting the bank certificate, was enough to do the renewal. So that's why they didn't ask you to translate the bank statement. So in this case, you could do the same. If you are submitting a bank certificate which is in Spain or translated into Spanish, then if you want to submit the movements, the bank statements, it's okay, and you will not need to translate them, because in a renewal is not necessary. Be careful for the first applications, because if you are doing a first application from the consulate or from Spain, no, from Spain, no, because they don't need movements also if you are doing an initial application from Spain. But if you're doing it from the consulate, that they always ask you for the last 6 movements, they usually won't then translate them.
That's it. I read it. Brian Maldo is asking, I have a non-lucrative visa and I will be applying for nationality soon with a digital certificate. I understand that I can authorize for my Spain criminal records, CCS results, padrón, etc. to be obtained automatically. Do you think that if I include those documents by myself as part of my application, it will expedite the process a bit? Certainly, I do think so. Let's make it easier for the Spanish authorities. And let's not give them any reason for denial. If you have those documents, submit them with your application, because yes, they can check it out. That's their obligation. They have to do it. They have to to request the criminal records. But in case that this takes too long, you can say, hey, I submitted this together with my application. You do not have an excuse to delay my procedure because you're waiting for this, because I did it for you. So yes, it is a good idea. It is something that we advise. It is something that we do in all files.
Exactly.
Yeah. Any more questions?
I don't think so.
No questions. No. Raquel is confirming that there are no more questions.
Okay, Juan, thank you very much. I think it was very interesting, and now I think there are a lot of student renewals, there are a lot of new student applications. Be careful with something, because we do have a lot of auxiliares de conversación. It's the only one that we cannot apply from Spain. Okay, they give you a student permit, it's true, but it's not really study. And that's why you cannot do it. For example, you can switch from auxiliar de conversación to study Spanish, for example, or whatever, from Spain. You can do it, and it's very usual because maybe you don't like to be an auxiliar de conversación, or you are already have been 3 years and you cannot do another program, and you can switch to Spanish or anything that you can that you want to study 30 days before expiration. Okay, but you cannot do it the other way around. You cannot be studying Spanish or something else and apply from here for the auxiliar de conversación. You will have to go to the consulate to apply for the auxiliar de conversación program. Of course, renewals can be done from here because there was this doubt in the past. A lot of programs were saying that people should go back to renew the auxiliar de conversación permit from the consulate. No, you can do it from Spain. You don't need to take a plane, go to the consulate and come back. You just have to go if you want the first auxiliar de conversación, okay? But the renewals can be done from here, and the other way around, you can do it from here. You can switch from auxiliar de conversación to another kind of studies from Spain. Something else that you think is interesting, Juan?
No, I mean, just be careful with the time. Some people think that they have an expiration date, there is another expiration date. And apart from that, yeah, get legal assistance. It's always better to do it with a lawyer.
Okay, so, well, thank you very much, Juan, to be here with me, like always, and Raquel, that is back since. And, well, we see you in 2 weeks. Maybe we try to do next week one in Spanish, but we will see because Constancia now was a little sick. We will tell you about, and follow us, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ainoa.